With doing a technique only run and an advanced only run in Lies of P, it just felt wrong to leave out Motivity, even though I wanted to wait for the DLC to come out before doing it. So I am here today to tell you my story of beating Lies of P while only leveling Motivity, aka Strength. Also, make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more crazy runs like these, or just like seeing me suffer. With that said, let's get into the rules for this run. Rule number 1, I can only level Motivity and no other stat. Rule number 2, no throwable items. I do this to make the run a bit more challenging since throwable items in Lies of P are super strong. Rule number 3, no summons. And lastly, I must beat every boss in the game. With the rules out of the way, it's bonking time. I started my run off by picking my class, and I of course had to go with the Path of the Sweeper for its 11 in capacity, since a lot of strength weapons are usually heavy. Speaking of strength weapons, upon selecting the Sweeper class, I received the Great Sword of Fate, a perfect weapon for a serial cosplayer like myself, which was fun to use on a police officer who was trying to stop me from becoming the ultimate Lies of P cosplayer. With the police taken care of, I massacred the entire robot population in Krat Central Station Plaza, so that I could use their ergo to buy electric blitz for the upcoming boss fights, and then use the rest to get my Motivity up to 16. With that done, it's time to party with Parade Master. At the start of the fight, I made sure to use the electric blitz to help speed up the fight since all robots are weak to electric damage. Before coming into this fight, I made sure to have all 3 Fable charges so that I could use the Blade's Fable Art, Link Slash, to deal 3 consecutive attacks to get the boss to his second phase quicker. With that done, I then used the Pimp Arm for stagger damage to be able to break the boss and get a Visceral off, leaving just enough health to Pimp Slap this robot bitch to death. In the Pimp Arm, we trust. With Parade Master blown up, I meet Sophia, who I would just love to cosplay as, but sadly the game will not let me. So instead, I leave the hotel to find someone that I can cosplay as. While exploring Ellison Boulevard, I find some armor for higher defense, a life amulet that increases my HP, a merchant that sells electric coil, which I buy for its handle, and another popo who wants to stop my murder spree. Sadly, I'm the anti-hero of this story, so the popo had to go. And I was rewarded for this good behavior by receiving the Krat Police Baton. The Krat Police Baton is a blunt-type weapon that focuses on Motivity for damage. The blade of the weapon has the Fable Art Single Slash, which does a strong sweeping slash. Its hilt's Art Strike Chance temporarily increases your attack for the next hit. This art right here is the main reason I wanted this weapon. After getting the police baton, I cosplay as a police officer and talk to the local crazy lady who I agree to help out. If you're going to cosplay, you have to commit to the part. With that done, I pick up some upgrade materials and some more armor to take on a man pretending to be a donkey, which I cannot allow. I am the only ass around here and I will not let anyone take that away from me. So I abused my powers as a police officer and made up a reason to arrest this man. But as you can tell, he's resisting arrest, just as I planned, so now I can use legal force to take him down. And by legal force, I mean beat this man from behind with my baton to the point of killing him. It's okay, I'll just say it was self-defense. And that, ladies and gents, is how you get away with murder. With Mad Donkey easily defeated by backstabs, I take his costume, and put it on myself, becoming the ass I was always meant to be. Even though I am an ass now, I still need to stay true to my word and help the crazy lady out. So I found her lost child and returned it to her for the money. Before heading back to the hotel, I make sure to pick up the Puppet Destroyer's amulet for the next boss fight. Once back at the hotel, I pop some ergo and get my Motivity to 23. Feeling a bit confident in myself like an ass would, I rush to take on Scrapped Watchman without upgrading my weapon. I figured with having the Fable Art Strike Chance, I didn't really need to upgrade my weapon, which I made the right call because off the bat, using both my Fable Arts, I was quickly able to get Watchman down for a Visceral, showing him who his daddy really was. Until he decided to manhandle me and show me he was actually my daddy. I haven't seen this grab attack in a while, and I forgot how brutal it was. But lucky for me, I was cosplaying as a donkey because I was too stubborn to die from that attack. I quickly recover from that smackdown to get another Fable combo off for the stagger to then lead into a visceral to then finish off the giant police robot with a buffed up heavy attack, giving scrapped Watchman a taste of his own medicine. With Watchman beaten to death, I obtained the Fulminous, which is technically a Motivity weapon with its B scaling in Motivity. And if you'd like to see how strong this bad boy is, you should check out my Legion arm only run. While at the hotel, I stumble across a cute cat, who does not seem to be a bit fond of me, but mark my words, I will make this cat like me. After being distracted by the cat, I unlock the P organ and begin unlocking my true potential. With all that done, I find a puppet of the future cosplaying as a boss, and make sure to take it out. I then kill a shield robot for a Legion caliber and find a new victim to cosplay as. I ended up picking up the Fire Axe to just use on Survivor, even though it's a balanced weapon, because it just seemed fitting cosplaying wise as a mad donkey to have a sharp weapon when attacking someone, as he did to me and my father. Easily beating this mini-boss and coming out the lone survivor of this fight, I then became Survivor. With my new identity in hand, I level my Motivity to 38, use a Motivity handle on the baton handle, and take on King Flame Fuoco, who royally kicked my ass in the beginning, but cosplaying as Survivor, there was just no way I wasn't going to survive this fight. With my life on the line, my ultra instincts kicked in, dodging and blocking attacks that if they would just hit me, I would die. To then get a pulse cell back to stay in the fight, which gave me the opportunity to get a visceral where I made sure to apply the electric blitz beforehand for extra damage. But the real big damage came from the supercharged heavy attack, and of course I had to finish off the fight with it as well because this is a strength run after all. With Fuoco taken care of, I immediately rush over to pick up the big pipe wrench and the carrier's amulet. I of course got the big wrench because it's a Motivity weapon, but the main reason is to use the big wrench blade and combined it with the police baton handle. You see, when combining the Fable Art Strike Chance with the Fable Art Patient Smash, you can do some insane damage, as you can see from all the videos on YouTube showing that off. With finally having the wrench, I can use all those upgrade items I've been saving up to get it to +3. While on my way to the cathedral, I came across the atoned. I like your face. I think I'll wear it. Now, you would think I would just use the broken Fable Art combo, but atoned isn't worth using it on her. So I just beat her the old-fashioned way of hitting the back of her head with a giant wrench. Very effective for killing people, from what I have seen on TV. With now having a new face, I pick up a Legion plug, some upgrade materials, a quartz off a dead zombie body, and meet a nun who I ask how I can atone for my sins of murder. Apparently just giving her the Archbishop's holy mark and all of my sins are forgiven. The Konami code to getting into heaven. Bribery. After atoning for my sins, I meet up with the fellow cosplayer, who I buy 2 boss weapons from, and the extreme modification amulet. I then return to the hotel to get my Motivity to 42, use up all the quartz I had forgotten about, and use the Legion plug to get the Deus Ex Machina. Deus Ex Machina is a portable landmine placer, aka make things go boom. At level 0, you just have 2 charges that you can use. At level 1, it increases the enemy detection time after installation. At level 2, you get another cell charge. And at level 3, the detection range, explosion range, and explosion damage are all increased. At this time, mine is at level 1. With all that fun stuff done with, time to undo all my good deeds and kill an Archbishop. For phase 1, I just use Fire Abrasive to help do extra damage since the boss is weak to fire, and use heavy attacks to move on to the second phase. The reason I did this was to save all my Fable charges for the second phase so that I could use the infamous Fable combo, Patient Strike Chance Smash, but needed a safe time to use it since it has a long wind-up time. So after getting the stagger break, instead of going for the visceral, I went for the Fable attack, and damn, that is a lot of damage. Now that's what I like to see in my strength only runs. Big damage numbers. But I must give other weapons some love, so it'll be on the bench for the most part of this run. With becoming a sinner once more, I decided I wanted to test out one of the boss weapons, and I chose to go with the Holy Sword of the Ark. Very fitting after killing an Archbishop. The Holy Sword of the Ark is a great sword-glaive that primarily focuses on motivity for damage. It has the Fable Art Altar that allows the greatsword to turn into a glaive, changing its movesets while giving the player a buff that reduces stamina costs. When using Altar in glaive form, it turns the weapon back into a great sword, temporarily giving the user a damage boost. The other unique thing about Altar is that it changes how Patient Slash works on this weapon. When in greatsword mode, it works as it normally would, charging the attack until it fully releases for a devastating attack. But when in glaive form, Patient Slash becomes a 5-hit attack stream. Another perk to all this is you can use Altar mid-Patient Slash to do a unique trick attack just like in Bloodborne. I'll be honest, this was probably my favorite boss weapon in this run due to the potential combos you can pull off with it. With all that said, I tested this bad boy out on an elite enemy to get the Patient Amulet. I then upgraded the weapon in Legion Arm to +2 and took on Black Rabbit Brotherhood. Starting off this fight, I made sure to parry the older brother to the point of breaking his weapon. Once I got the stagger off, I made sure to place a landmine so while I'm performing a visceral, it would explode, dealing more damage to the elder brother, and I got lucky it also hit the younger sibling as well. Unfortunately, by doing this, I got the elder brother so low that the buckethead sibling came out. So I made sure to use the landmines to help reduce their HPs to get rid of them. This made the first two siblings a breeze to deal with, but I cannot say the same for the third. Due to his annoying go-go gadget arm, it made the landmines a bit useless, and he ended up lowering my health down to about a quarter left before I was finally able to get rid of him, which left me in a really sticky situation, but luckily since this is a strength weapon, it has really good block protection. So, even though I messed up some parries, I was able to survive long enough to get a stagger break on him, which gave me a pulse cell back to guarantee my victory in this fight. Sadly, the game does not give you any of their head pieces or chest pieces, so no cosplaying the siblings tragically. Being depressed that I can't wear the siblings' faces, I find someone who I can wear their face of. For Wyatt Lady, I decided to try mixing bone cutting saw blade in an electric coil handle, thinking combining the rush smash with the long reach of the bone saw would ensure me to get the hit off. As you can see, that wasn't the case, so I just killed her the boring way. Also, if you're wondering why I'm just wearing the mask and not her whole outfit, you can't get her chest piece until near the end of the game. So from this point on, I'll just be cosplaying the people's faces because it's a hassle to get all the chest pieces. I tried once more to use the bone saw with the electric coil handle in hopes it could redeem itself, but sadly that was not the case, earning my first death against a boss, if you want to call this boss. More like an elite enemy with a boss bar, but after dying 3 times, I took out the terrifying looking puppet. With that ugly fuck dealt with, I find my sister who is in disarray. So, being the good younger sibling that I am, I take care of her, even though she is a backstabbing bitch. After tending to my lovely sister, I pick up the exploding pickaxes for its blade. The reason I want the blade is that it deals blunt damage, which the next boss is weak to. So I decided to attach it to the electric coil in hopes for an easy win. Before leaving to take on the boss, I upgrade my P organ for some more healing and an extra dodge because I will need it for Romeo. Speaking of Romeo, you wouldn't hit a lady, would you? Well damn, I guess he believes in equality. Shit. For the first phase, I just played a bit reserved, making sure to stay stocked on Fable charges, Legion, and Grindstone uses. I could have used Rush Smash to get to the second phase sooner, but I wanted to make sure I had as many options as possible during the second phase to be able to end the fight. Once making it to the second phase, I start placing mines to get some chip damage off, but also to deal some stagger damage as well, which paid off getting the stagger, allowing me to apply the electric blitz, but I made the mistake of going for a heavy attack before the visceral, losing that visceral opportunity, which set Romeo off to do his long combo, which normally would terrify me, but since learning that all I need to do is dodge to the left to survive it, I wasn't too worried about it. Okay, maybe I was a little bit worried. After just barely surviving that, I made sure to find an opening to use Rush Smash on the bastard. I then backed off to place some landmines in hopes they would stagger or kill, and sure enough they ended up staggering him, allowing me to get the first try kill. Of course, with getting Romeo's outfit afterwards, I had to cosplay as my dead friend. Back at the hotel, I traded in the burnt white king's ergo for the triumvirate amulet to help with dealing more damage with Deus Ex Machina. Since I'm cosplaying as Romeo, who is a lovely gentleman, I talked to the residents at the hotel, reassuring them in their beliefs and good looks. After lying to the people to make them happy, I level my Motivity to 52 and grow out my hair so that I could look more like Romeo. I then pick up 3 more Legion calibers so that I could max out Deus Ex Machina. I also revisited with my cat friend who is slowly starting to like me more and more. I think he can sense we're the same type of individual. Once done petting the pussycat, I upgraded my organ for more grindstone uses and decided to check out the 7-coil spring sword. The 7-coil spring sword is a great sword that has a B in motivity and a C in technique. It has 2 fable arts. The first is guard parry, which when timed properly will deflect the enemy's attack and trigger a powerful attack back upon them. Then its unique fable art, 7 explosions, which deals a strong downward blow that unleashes multiple explosions dealing damage to the enemies in front of you. Basically Saber's Excalibur attack from Fate Stay Night, which I figured would be a fun matchup against Champion Victor. Well, would have been if I would have played better. I had a good chance of getting the first try, but ended up doing a few misplays and deciding to dodge instead of blocking the Fury attack, causing me to lose the first try. So that one was on me for losing. Now I will say it is fitting that my first death to a real boss was to a fellow strength player. For round 2, I made sure to apply Acidic Abrasive early this time and made sure to get the decay effect to proc for the tick damage. With that done, I stayed back and parried attacks until I could get a Viscera off, to then stack a bunch of landmines to send Victor to his second phase. For phase 2, I went with using landmines at the start to increase the staggered damage on him. After getting a few hits with the landmines, I went on the offensive to get decay off on him. With Victor now having decay, I waited for a setup to use 7 explosions to get the stagger. I then played it safe and popped my Fable Catalyst to get another 7 explosions off to guarantee the break to ensure I would get the Visceral for the win. With Victor dethroned and me becoming the new champion, I find Alodaro II and trade in Victor's Ergo for Frozen Feast. Frozen Feast is a great sword, which seems to be a theme with Motivity boss weapons. The sword is made out of ergo crystals, so after each successful hit, the weapon breaks a bit, and after 4 hits, it reveals its true form. When doing this, the weapon gets a damage buff for each level and its attack speed increases. You can even use its Fable art, Liberate, to skip to level 4. Its other Fable art, Single Slash, charges the weapon for a single strong attack. A very interesting and unique weapon, but it'll be a bit before I use it. With that said, I pick up Fancy Vanini Collection to be able to buy the Blue Guardianship Amulet. And with that done, I mosey on over to the Green Monster of the Swamp with my trusty old giant pipe wrench police baton. Surprisingly, this fight wasn't as bad as it usually is for me. That's not to say I didn't die, because oh boy, I sure did. But this time it was only 2 times, which is a new personal best for me. For my first death, I ended up getting caught in a combo attack in his first phase, which is just a bit embarrassing in all honesty. For my second death, I ended up mistiming some parries, leading me to run out of pulse cells, and I just wasn't able to stay in the fight long enough to recover another one. Alright, with all the deaths out of the way, let's just get into how I won this fight. So, for phase 1, I made sure to coat my weapon in fire to help with the damage. Then I would either wait for the boss to do his combo move where I would dodge to the left and run around the boss to get multiple charge heavy hits in, or I would parry its basic slam attacks to get in free hits in between. With just those 2 simple things, the first phase went down pretty quickly. For phase 2, my big thing was trying to bait out his charge attack, since after he finishes that attack, it's the safest time to get a Fable combo off. It just took a good bit of time before he finally decided to do it. Now, you might be thinking of parrying the charge attack, but this would actually hurt you more than help you. Because when parrying his charge attack, he actually recovers very quickly, whereas when he finishes his charge, he does a roll afterwards, and it takes him quite a bit of time until he gets up, which is the perfect opportunity to get a Fable combo off. Afterwards, I pop my Fable Catalyst to refill my charges a bit, and then set a landmine to get a bit more stagger damage. With how much stagger damage I had done so far, I knew if I parried his charge attack and did a charge heavy attack, I should get a stagger break off, which luckily I did. I then decided to go for the Visceral to try and get my 4th charge back. Sadly, I did not get the 4th charge, so I placed some landmines to chip his HP a bit. Tragically, I never did get the 4th charge, so instead of pussyfooting around, I just went for the Patient Smash in hopes it would kill. It did not, but I was able to get behind the green fella, killing him from behind, reminding me of my police officer days. Might not have been the cleanest fight, but I'm just happy it only took me 3 tries to win. That is a massive improvement on my part. After that riveting fight, I leveled my Motivity to 61, talked to Belle to take on a side quest, bought the Pistol Rock Drill, which we will discuss in a bit, and picked up the Live Puppet's axe for its blade. While still in the swamp, I make sure to destroy the 2 puppets of the future. I then blow up a giant scorpion dog for the Murderous Puppet Amulet, and finally find Belle's partner. Only took me 3 runs to finally do it, but I did it. Tragically, her partner is infected, and if only I was cosplaying as a doctor, I could have possibly helped him out. I then come across a little weasel who apparently is deadly allergic to landmines. What a coincidence that I just had a bunch of landmines on me. What are the chances? Also, I kind of forgot at this point you get Robber Weasel's outfit, but I do remember later on to put it on. After that fight, I remembered about our doctor and made an appointment to see him. I ended up using the Pistol Rock Drill out of curiosity, and at first, I didn't think much of the weapon, but once I used its Fable Art, I knew this weapon had some potential. The Pistol Rock Drill is essentially a crit-hitting jackhammer. Its blade's Fable Art, Grind, temporarily increases its crit rate. Its handle's Fable Art, Furious Forward Stab, which does repeated poke attacks until all Fable charges are used, finishing with a strong thrusting attack. This Fable Art right here is what makes this weapon really strong, which you'll see in not too long. With that showcase over with, I upgrade my organ to get a 5th Fable charge, pick up Coil M, which will disappoint me in a bit, further test out Furious Forward Stab on a mutated freak, upgrade my weapons a bit, and take on another freak. Instead, this one can instantly kill me with Disruption, if it so chooses to. For Walker of Illusion, I decided to go with the weapon combo Live Puppet Axe and Electric Coil Handle. I got this weapon idea from a fellow challenge runner, Nova Ride. He did a run in Liza P with Motivity only, and he showed how strong this weapon combo really is. He also has some really good Liza P challenge runs, so if you're interested in checking him out, I'll leave a link in the description to his channel. With the combined power of Rush Smash and Deus Ex Machina, Walker of Illusion didn't stand a chance. Up next on the boss list is Corrupted Parade Master, where I show how strong Furious Forward Stab is. If I wouldn't have been out of Fable Catalyst, I could have easily used this art twice in a row for a quick win. But sadly, I had to finish the fight the normal way of just thrusting the boss to death. After that fight, I get my Motivity to 66, and it's time to finally use Frozen Feast. I'll be honest, this probably wasn't the best weapon dash boss matchup I could have done. My thought process was I could use the landmines at the start to help keep back the first sibling that comes at me, and then use Liberate to go full power and kill the sibling, which did eventually work, but the first few attempts did not go so well. I also remember why I really disliked this fight. Constantly getting yoinked by Detective Go-Go Gadget while fighting another sibling is extremely frustrating. On top of that, accidentally aggroing the other 2 siblings or being hit from behind by a projectile attack when fighting another sibling just not make this fight very fun, in my opinion. Which I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Green Monster is no longer my least favorite boss fight. Round 2 of the Black Rabbit Brotherhood is now my least favorite boss fight. But with that said, I ended up dying 12 times here. On my 13th attempt, I finally made it to the Elder Brother, which I had no issues taking out with some well-placed landmines. Deus Ex Machina really came in clutch in this run. I then spare Olodaro the second since I will need him for later and pick up a Great Vanini collection to be able to buy the Perfection Grindstone. With those two things done, I figured I would take on the Door Guardian with the Coil M blade combined with the Police Baton handle. This was a bad idea. The Coil M is such a heavy blade and the baton handle in general has a slow moveset, on top of having a short range, leading to a lot of misses and suffering. So after 2 attempts, I gave up on that idea and just went with using electric coil handle instead for rush smash. It was slightly better and barely got the job done. After that lovely experience, I found a black cat and gave him a colonoscopy exam with my big jackhammer. And saying that back now sounds really bad to PETA. I started to see a pattern of me killing people, so I figured it was fitting to take Black Cat's identity and become a mercenary for hire. But before taking on my first contract, I needed to do 2 things. First, I needed to get my big drill to +10, and second, upgrade my organ for an extra amulet slot. With those 2 things done, it was time for me to take on my first mission, kill Simon Manus's simp, Laxasia. My plan for Laxasia was pretty simple, if you can believe that. All I had to do in phase 1 was coat my weapon in acid, wait for her to do a red attack, and then use Furious Forward Stab to take off more than half her HP. I probably should have used Grind here, but I kind of forgot about it. So it could have even done more damage than what I did. After getting that art off, I made sure to get my Fable charges back up and beat her the old-fashioned way, or just use some landmines to play it safe. Now, for the second phase, it was a very simple plan, but I kept on dying due to sucking at this game. I ended up dying a total of 10 times. One day I'll first try this phase, one day. So the plan here was to use Perfection Grindstone at the start to guarantee the parries on all of her projectiles and her insanely fast dash attack. Once those were parried, I would rush forward and use Furious Forward Stab to get as many hits off on her as possible. After that, I just placed as many landmines as I could and bait her into running into them, which gave me the lovely surprise on my winning attempt that the landmines can actually break bosses. I had no fucking clue they could do that, and if I would have known, I could have won this fight a lot sooner. I did mess up a bit here though. I should have applied the acid to my weapon before the visceral to get the decay effect off to potentially kill her right after the visceral. But I wasn't thinking at the time. I was still kind of baffled about the landmines exploding and breaking the boss. So instead, I placed another landmine and let it do all the work. Seriously, I had no clue Deus Ex Machina was this good. With Laxasia dead, I find Sophia in a bit of a pickle and decided to help her out. I might be a serial killer and all, but I'm not a monster, and I can prove it. See, the cat likes me so much it lets me pick it up. Or it lets me pick it up because we're both cut from the same cloth and like killing things for fun. Nah, it has to be the good option. To celebrate bonding with the cat, I murder my sister in cold blood so that I could wear her face. I then level my Motivity to 74, pick up the Assassin's Amulet to increase crit rate, and upgrade my organ for longer stagger windows. With all that done, time to do what foxes do best, murder! If you can't tell, I can't think of anything for this cosplay. Manus was, funny enough, really easy this time around. Now, I did get smacked around a bit in the first phase since I forgot how to parry most of his moves, but with this being a strength-only run, I took the beating like a tramp. Like a tramp? Like a champ. For the second phase, all I had to do was apply a crit buff to the drill and use my Fable Thrust attack to take off half of Manus' health. I probably could have just repeated this one more time and would have won, but I wanted to make sure he would die, so I placed some landmines down to chip off some of his HP, so that when I would finally saw the opportunity to do the combo again, I would 100% win. Crazy how only 2 runs ago I had died 117 times to this bastard. Just goes to show you that it takes a lot of time and effort to get good at something. Well, for me, anyways. With that done, I had to max out my Motivity stat because it just felt wrong not to in a single stat run. And it's finally time to use the true Unga Bunga weapon in Liza P, the club. Wouldn't be a strength run without a bit of caveman action. Sadly though, I fucked up on the first attempt by pressing X twice, thinking I had switched to a pulse cell, which caused me to lose the first try. But it's okay, I did much better the second go around. Now, I debated whether to explain this fight or just show it to all of you. And I decided to just show it because I'm just proud of myself for pulling this off on my second attempt when it usually takes me like 10 plus tries. So I'm just going to stop talking now so y'all can enjoy the fight.
Troublesome little puppet. Your freedom is not, but for Carlos. But there's no other way. If you can't find those memories, I'll make you a real human myself. After I lost you. How dare you? You're just a puppet. Nothing more. You're someone who doesn't give up. Who knows?
I'm just as shocked as y'all are that I was able to pull that win off, but with that said, Liza P Motivity only run finally comes to an end. This was an extremely fun run, and I had a blast with using Deus Ex Machina and all the different Motivity type weapons, which has me even more excited to play the DLC when it comes out. Also, I know I could have become Aladaro III, but I started to get tunnel vision towards the end of the run and messed up some opportunities to cosplay as other characters, but I'm still happy with how the run turned out. With all that said, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, hit that subscribe button. At this time, I would also like to thank my channel supporters. If you too would like to support the channel or have your name in the video, you can click the Patreon link in the description or click the YouTube join button. I also from time to time stream my runs, so you can catch me streaming on YouTube or over on Twitch at Atoned Gaming. I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, take care.